the CompTIA Linux Plus curriculum. Now it's time for an overview of the requirements associated with the Linux Plus exam. The CompTIA curriculum are listed as objectives, split into 5 somewhat overlapping domains, which are installation and configuration, system maintenance and operations, applications and services, networking, and security. Installation and configuration covers about 22% of the exam, and topics therein include things like physical and network installation sources such as CDs or FTP servers, partitions, volumes like logical volumes, RAID arrays, locally formatted or network attached file systems which can be mounted or unmounted during the boot process or afterwards, the Linux directory structure, which you may already know as the file system hierarchy standard, the grub bootloader, as well as troubleshooting tips within that bootloader. Installation and configuration also covers both the Red Hat and the Debian package management systems. Next, system maintenance and operations, about 28% of the exam. It's focused on the command line, including basic file, process management, directory navigation, and redirection options. You'll also look at some commands which can help you back up and restore a system, manage services, monitor and work performance, and schedule tasks. You'll also look at the way Linux works with quotas, monitors the amount of data on your file system, along with the basics of documentation at the command line. Performance information is available in a number of log files. Finally, system maintenance and operations also includes a basic overview on how the GUI works on Linux. Next, applications and services. This domain also addresses service management commands, similarly to some of the system maintenance and operations functions. But it goes more into coverage of the basic configuration of major Linux services. Some relate to Microsoft interoperability, such as Samba. There are basic file services using the FTP or file transfer protocol. It covers the Apache web server in some detail. You'll be a bit surprised when we go through it. It also addresses some basic MySQL tasks, as well as CUPS printing services. Finally, this domain addresses basic concepts associated with the domain name server, the dynamic host configuration protocol service, as well as the network time protocol service. Next, the networking domain. Well, this section may require a bit of memorization, as you really need to know about a dozen port numbers associated with the TCP/IP protocol. For example, port 80 is associated with web services. It also examines the basics of network configuration commands and related files. It goes into some detail about DNS and what kind of labels you'll find in a DNS database. For example, MX is associated with a mail server. And finally, you'll look at some key network troubleshooting commands. The last domain is related to security. It covers the management of user and group accounts, as well as the special privileges associated with the so-called super user. It looks at various types of file permissions and even covers the basics of security-enhanced Linux. You shouldn't be intimidated by that. It describes basic security utilities, not in too much detail, including things like checksum commands, which can help you verify the authenticity of a download. It also looks at various methods for remote authentication. Whew, that was a mouthful, but the CompTIA Linux Plus exam covers a lot of stuff. And look at those objectives in detail. And when you do, don't forget the acronyms at the end of the list. You should know them by heart. For if you see acronyms on your exam, you don't want to have to waste time thinking about what they mean.